Um, this is gonna be a bit, again, this is my perspective because I like to consume good products, okay, organic products, fair trade products, like products from the social enterprise, context, okay? But of course, they happen to be expensive. They are in comparison to the market, okay? So as an academic, okay, you know, let's have this conversation. I was thinking, wow, okay, what we are building is fantastic, but I have the feeling that it's only available for certain social class. Okay, because when I went, okay, my experience when I went to the good market was fantastic. This guy, he had this kind of hipster style. They have these fantastic products because they were amazing. Like really good products. But of course, I was thinking maybe, and it happens not only there but everywhere. Whether someone perhaps from a low income, families, they could actually afford it. So what do you think?
Yeah. So, and I'll just say on the good market experience that you had, I think you came after we'd switched to Central Colombo, right? And it was a long effort to get there. When we started, we were actually in a suburb area where it was a much lower income community, and all the customers were very much local and from that income class. So the vibe you would have gotten was after many years and after we'd shifted to have something in Colombo. So a couple of things. One is there is an element of, if you look at a lot of products that we have, we are not paying the full cost of those products, right? So there is an actual truth in certain situations where the cost is going to be higher, because what's happening right now with a lot of the profit maximizing economy is they're taking the social environmental costs, them not covering healthcare, them not paying living wages, them not taking care of environmental protections, them using cheap petrochemical based ingredients instead of real ingredients, right?
Of course.
All of those things make the cost low, but the real social environmental cost is putting it out to us as a society.
Excellent.
Right? So there is an element of that where we have to be like eyes wide open. That is a real thing, right? Why there would be more cost if you actually do things in the right way and you pay people and you put ingredients in that are actually healthy for our bodies and all of those things, right?
I know, but this is what really frustrates me because, as a consumer,
Yeah, so let's get to the next piece. The part that's really fun about this space is that it's an ecosystem. So that means you've got all different groups trying to solve different aspects of the same of problems, right? And so what we would see happen is, like, maybe early days, we would have groups that had organic for export certification, which is expensive, and they would have higher costs, right? And they were solving a specific problem. At that time, you couldn't find organic products in Sri Lanka, for example, right? But their products might only be accessible to certain groups, right? But then what ends up happening is, as this ecosystem develops, you'll have people say, well, actually, the problem I want to solve is I want to make an organic product affordable for everyone.
Yeah.
And so then what they do, so we'll start having groups where maybe they're not doing beautifully graded, sort the carrots and have them all perfect and look the same size. They have it look like a little funny shapes or things like that. Or maybe they grade it and they have, here's the expensive one that goes to the chef at the restaurant, and here's the one that, goes there. There's lots of different ways. And the best part, the part I'm the most excited about, is how many groups you're having that are specifically working on how to make it accessible for everyone. So they're setting things up as mutual aid. They're doing community gardens. They're doing community kitchens. So my experience has been that the people wanting to solve these problems are across all classes. And as we build up the ecosystem, you get more and more people who are like, I want to make sustainable, ethical clothing affordable for everybody. I'm going to solve the problem this way. and they have their niche that they focus on, right? Because it's an ecosystem. We've all got our little pieces that we're all working on together. So I would say certainly in the early days, as people were doing these kinds of products, the focus was on wealthier consumers and just passing on the price. As things keep evolving, you get people being very creative and trying to make things accessible and affordable for everybody. Actually, I'm like, India is a fantastic example. There are so many groups popping up, young entrepreneurs, right, who are focused on, and they don't have a lot of resources, and they're like, I want to make things so that they're available to people like me, right? So that's the problem they've picked to solve. And they're doing really creative things about personal care products, or about let's figure out fashion that we can afford, but that meets these values, right? So I think it's easier to think about it as kind of an ecosystem approach and something that's moving and evolving over time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course, because